And we're off.
Is it
Okie
going?
dokie. Yep, it's on.
Did you know last week we didn't even introduce ourselves?
We didn't. And you know what? I stopped introducing myself on my podcast too, to be honest. It's
Well,
just rolling
I,
into.
I took that as we're now famous enough. We don't even have to introduce ourselves. So
I will agree with that.
you're welcome that you even know we exist.
That's right.
Yeah. There you go. There
I
you go.
like that logic. That's good logic.
Okay,
what
so
are we talking about today, Deb?
I'm so excited. Like
Me
I'm so
too.
excited. So there is a program, a lending program that is so near and dear to my heart, and it's the renovation programs that are out there. And I think for the first time in all of the communication I've had with Mark Jones, I know something more than he does. Just the first and only time. This is it.
I know very little. I can't say nothing, not anymore at least, because I had a pretty good rundown from the Mortgage Queen yesterday.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. So yeah, we just decided we were going to talk a little bit about a loan program today. And because this is a program that it is out of the box. People are so scared of it. Like we were talking, that people in your area are just like, nope, 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 nope. We're not doing the program.
Right.
So it's the FHA 203K program has two programs within that program. And then the conventional program has one that mimics it. So we're just going to kind of dive in and talk about that just a little bit because you've got to be careful to line up with a lender that knows what they're doing because it can go ugly real fast. And unfortunately, it has gone ugly real fast. And that's why real estate agents and real estate professionals have just like, no way. Nope, not even going to go there. So I'm excited. So where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about like the gist of the program? Or?
Yeah, let's talk about the basics. And I think the idea behind this a conversation is to enlighten, educate, and to show that there is hope for those that in many situations can't afford to purchase a home that is ready to go. Why? Because they're going to want full price. They're going to want top dollar for those properties right now. And it's just what we're seeing in our market. But there is a huge disparity of properties that are in need of renovations, in need of repairs, that in many cases the seller, they're not going to do before they close, before they put it on the market. A lot of them are being sold as is. And I get the question quite often is, can I do a renovation loan? And I will be honest with our audience today and say I've always kind of steered them away to a certain extent, simply because I didn't know enough about the process. And I was kind of drinking my own Kool-Aid to the sense that I believed that they were a nightmare to deal with. And from everything that I've read, obviously you're going to find more of the bad of anything when you go looking for it. So that's kind of what I ended up focusing on. And unfortunately, shame on me.
Yeah.
After yesterday.
Well, I think the big thing on my side is I had my very first one that I did was a long time ago. And I happened to have a lady that I was actually pretty decent friends with. She'd been in my my circle quite a bit. And she called me and she said, I know this program exists. I just need somebody willing to jump in. Well, because I'm Deborah Criddle, I have the word yes tattooed on my freaking face. That I'm like, oh yeah, you want to do something stupid? Yes. You want to do a loan program I've never done? Yes. No, why not? Like, why not? So I warned her. I said, I'd never done this before, but if you're willing to work with me and understand that I'm going to ask you for something that may be something totally opposite we may need. So just hang in there with me. Had the same conversation with the contractor. And I mean, it wasn't too far into it that I understood what I needed to do. So it wasn't as clunky as I warned them to be.
Sure.
But the gist behind this is I can buy this house in its state. I can dream of what I want it to be to come to this state, and we can finance it. We can get to from point A to point B, purchase the home, repairs are done after, and you can have your dream home. And it goes into sellers who just don't want to put any more money into things, sellers who are estates and trusts, and you've got the family that just we don't want to deal with grandpa's house, we don't want to deal with mom's house. We just want you to buy it as is. We just want our money. Goodbye, good riddance. So the foreclosures, the estate sales, the homes that just need TLC because everybody lives in different living conditions, and maybe they were okay with that. I've explained to my clients that, hey, just remember when you go out and go shopping, you are in a lower price point. I want you to walk in that house with the idea that, you know what, I would never take my shoes off in this house, nor would I ever let my children play on the floor. But just envision the ability to take the carpet, the paint, the trim, the doors, the windows, the siding, the roof, the everything. Just, you can gut it all and we can put all brand new in. Look at the bones of the house. Is the bones of the house good? Great. Then we can make the rest of it come together. And so I just dove in with 2 feet, and I love the program. Like all of my stuff is 203K renovation expert. I love the program. And the cool thing about it is it's a negative, it's sold kind of negative online. You're right. You can
It
find everything
absolutely is.
negative
Yeah.
about it. But when I get done talking to people, they feel my energy. So they go into the house and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, we totally got this house. This is great." You know. And then I always tell them, "Now listen, if you put an offer in on this house on an FHA loan, it's going to get declined. Guaranteed. If this home is not going to meet HUD handbooks, it's going to get
Right.
declined. I need you to tell your agent. When you put that offer in, you call the other agent and you tell them you are to call the lender. Do not look at the offer until you talk to the lender."
That's right.
And so I've had listing agents call me and say, "All right, Deb, I've got this offer and I'm not allowed to look at it until you explain it to me." And then I'm like, "Oh, we have this program and it could do this." And by the time I'm done with them, they can't not accept the offer, right? Like
True.
they have to accept
True.
it because they're like, "She's psycho. She's on steroids." Accept. That's just how it is.
And she's giving me exactly what we're asking for on a silver platter. We essentially will do all the work while they wait for funding, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, high level overview is I find this home that I love. It needs some TLC, or maybe it's just nasty 70s shag carpet. There's nothing wrong with it. You can live in it, but it just needs to be upgraded. Or 1990s oak cabinets, and you want to
Sure.
just make it a little bit more updated. Nothing wrong with it. You just want to update it. Leisure items, I can't really say leisure items, but changing the dynamic of the house can be done. You can't go buy a hot tub. So I guess leisure items.
Well, you have an illustration here that just kind of goes through
Yes.
these. Let me see.
Yes, it's beautiful.
here.
Beautiful. While he's pulling that up, I'm going to just tell you. So you find the house, and then you get a list of what you want to be done to that house, and we get a bid for people to come in and do that work.
So this here is what
Oh yeah.
we're focused on, and it kind of goes through exactly what you're talking about here. What can you do? What type of repairs? Kitchen, yes. Bathroom, yes. Roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, flooring, fencing, sidewalks. Sidewalks, that's a new one. I did not know that. Windows, doors, siding, decks, patios, appliances. So it covers quite a bit of the things that your customer, or you, if you are the customer, are wondering, what can I repair? What can I upgrade? What can I replace to get this home up to speed of where I would like it to be to start living in it? And I think the coolest part is you have to stay within budget of what the appraised value will allow, up to 110%. So it's not like you're going to over upgrade this property. There's almost safeguards or things in place
Right.
that allow you to not do too much.
Right. And this program, the flyer that you've got right there, that is on the one program that FHA has that is kind of more restricted to like the cosmetic type stuff. It can't be structural stuff. But you kick over to the other FHA program or the conventional program, and you can take that thing down almost the foundation. I mean, you could take it down to the bare nothing and start back over and do a whole rebuild. And the structural things change, loan programs change, types of paperwork involved. There's another person that has to be involved to make sure the contractors can feasibly do what needs to be done and all that. But
and what would be the reason for that other person that you say, and then who is that other person?
Okay, so I want to refer to them as a he. No offense to women, but
They, them.
they identify as he today.
Okay,
So he is called a consultant, and
okay.
his job is to see. This is like I'm not very filtered because I'm talking about.
Okay, our
Anyways.
show is not doing what it's doing because we're filtered. Darn it.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. So So a consultant comes in, and his job is to review the cost breakdown and the project itself. He gets on the phone with the client, and he gets on the phone with the contractor and says, "Okay, what are you doing?" Contractor says, "Hey, I'm taking out these walls, I'm doing the siding, I'm doing the windows, I'm going to relocate the staircase, we're going to finish the basement, all the plumbing's got to be done." Contractor walks through the house, takes his little checkoff list. I'm like, "Okay, here's all the things that they want to do. Here's the things that have to be done to meet the requirements of the loan." And they write up a report that basically says, "Hey, yep, we have met with the contractor, and we feel like that contractor can do what needs to be done for that project to be done within that budget."
Okay.
And when you get above a certain dollar amount, you have to have that third party person involved, and they have to oversee the project throughout the process of it. They're kind of the eyeballs of the investor for that section of the program when you get into
Gotcha.
those bigger things. Um, so it's an expense. It's an extra expense, of course it is, but it's also on a. It's not just, well, the consultant felt like he wanted to make an extra chunk of money today. It's on a tiered basis of based off of the amount of money your project is going to be. That's how much the feasibility / consultant write up is going to be. So, oh yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Look at
Okay,
that.
so stop for just a minute. So that right there where you see the standard 203K, that's the big one. That's gonna let you do structural things. That's gonna let you do major, like over 35,000 in most areas. In some areas it's 50,000. Come in November, they're bumping it to 75. So that's even better. And then bullet point number 2 down there is the limited one. That's the one that's just gonna kind of cater to that little flyer that we showed. That's your cosmetic stuff. And
Mhm.
um, it's really just to kind of upgrade the cosmetic type of things. Nothing structural, nothing really
Gotcha.
extensive.
And is it the standard has a minimum of 5,000, whereas the limited, does it have a minimum of what they need to do?
Not necessarily, but depending on who your seller is
Uh-huh.
and your investor is, sometimes they put a requirement on that.
I
Because
see.
if you're under a certain dollar amount, they don't care. It's
Right.
just like it's not. It's looked at just a little bit differently.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Right here, it says the role of the FHA consultant: initial property inspection, work plan and cost estimate, contractor bids and selections, draw requests and inspections, and then final inspection. So they're kind of overseeing that process, making sure that FHA's protection basically is that person essentially.
Yep. They are the boots on the ground for the investor,
Good way to
because
look at
they're
it.
the ones that are actually looking at the project and making sure the contractor's following the requirements of the loan. And we don't. There's not a lot of them. Honestly,
No.
there's not a lot of them. I actually, in my area, we had one come from Logan, Utah, which is about 2.5 hours away. And he'll come. There's a handful of them in Boise, but if you look up, there's one by the name, and he's a hottie. He's a hottie. His name is Chris Criddle.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
certified? That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. He hates it. He absolutely hates it because he doesn't. He doesn't. I need him to do things for me, and he's getting paid to do work for me. So it's like it's good. But we conned him into taking his general contractor licensing to a different level so that he could be our consultant for our area over here. And for the most part, it's worked out pretty dang good. He's had a couple projects that there's some crappy people out there in the
I
world,
can
and
only
he just
imagine.
so. But anyways, that is, I don't know if you look up FHA HUD
Well, I
consultant.
just did that. I did it through ChatGPT because I'm just getting in the habit of using this for quite so many things.
Oh
And
yeah,
right here, bam, here's the list of
you're
San
lucky.
Antonio. And this is for those in San Antonio, but here's the list of inspectors in San Antonio. Let's see here. Can
You
you?
know what's cool? Why you look at that?
Uh,
HUD regulates their fees. So you don't necessarily care who you hire to do this, because it's not like Gordon's going to be cheaper than William.
oh,
They
true.
don't. And so that's kind of a nice thing. You're just like start at the top and go to the bottom and start calling them, and whoever answers the phone first, yippee ki yay, let's go.
Yippee ki yay! I like that.
Ooh
Let's see.
yeah,
See if he pops up on here. Oh, there's only 3.
yeah. That's not accurate because
It's
Chris
probably
Crittle's
not.
on that
Yeah, it
list.
just gives a couple of them in each because I'm sure there's more in San Antonio as well than just 8 total.
Well, look at the cities of that. Hayden's in northern Idaho. Pocatello's 45 minutes away, which is fine. Orofino's not even close to us.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
anyways, so the consultant is something that you have to have just on certain projects.
Makes
But
sense. Makes sense. Certain projects over 35,000.
yep. So the nuts and bolts of the dollars behind it is I get to buy this property as is. I find this house, I get to buy this property as is, and I want to do XYZ to it. Your offer on the home goes in saying, I'm buying this house as is. I don't expect you to do anything more to it, seller. Now, the big thing that we have to understand is that does not waive your ability to get a home inspection. Just because you're
Correct.
buying the home as is and you're going to do a renovation loan, you still have the ability to have a home inspection and have a home inspector say in there, that's great, you're going to renovate everything, but the foundation's about ready to take a crap.
Right.
So you can still bail. So just because you have that type of a loan product behind you doesn't force you to buy it at whatever issues come up in that inspection. But you're buying the house as is. Oh, go
And
ahead,
it
sorry.
also, no, it also, because it is under FHA, they have to have an appraisal done. And essentially, it ensures that you're not about to overpay for this house as is situation and then go and try and add money to it. So, Deb, let me ask, has there been any situations that you've had since you've done so many that the home itself didn't appraise as is, so they had to go back to negotiate just a tad to get this thing moving forward? I would imagine probably not, huh?
That's the scary part. That's
Yeah.
the one scary part is you don't have to do an as-is appraisal.
Okay. So it's an appraisal that is
Subject to completion.
contingent or okay,
Yep.
subject to
So
completion.
on a purchase, your purchase contract acts as the as-is value,
Okay.
which you kind of get a little bit nervous because what if you're buying that house for $250,000 and if you were to just do a standard appraisal and it only comes in at 235,
Mm,
we wouldn't know it.
right.
Because you're saying, hey, appraiser, I'm going to put new siding and a new roof and a new kitchen in this. What is it worth? And he's like, oh, 325. You never knew that before it was done as the 235 number. But do we care?
Not really. Not really.
Because you're doing the repairs.
Yeah.
So
And
yes,
your
you gave
goal
the
was
seller.
to complete this process. So essentially, you're right. It really does not matter as long as the in the end value with the repairs that you've done, especially as a first time home buyer, you want to ensure that you're at least up to par with the value and what you're spending. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, breaking even somewhere along that
Yeah.
line. So, did you give the seller an extra 15 grand? Maybe, but you also maybe just spent $35,000 doing those repairs and walked into another $40,000 worth of equity. So, do
Right.
you care? No,
No,
you just really don't.
that's right.
And they are that kind of a spread. You
Oh,
have people that are walking into some dang good equity, so you kind of just close your eyes at the as is value because you're gonna get it at the end. And so you buy the house as is, process the paperwork of here's my bids, this is what I want to do. Appraisal is ordered subject to the completion of your list of things that you want to do to the home. And we base our amount of money that we can lend off of that and have an escrow account set up for all the repair money. The seller gets his money and is gone before any repairs are done. And that's another kind of big misunderstanding is the assumption is those repairs have to be done prior to closing on these renovation loans.
huge
No.
misunderstanding right there. Yes, you are correct. Matter of fact, I was one of them that thought, okay, this is going to be a nightmare, and it's going to take forever to even get funded because they've got to do all these repairs, and before that, they've got to get all the bids and make sure that FHA approves them. That's not the case
No.
at all.
No. Now I will go off on this little tangent about lead-based paint
Yeah.
because when lead-based paint disclosures came out just a few years ago, um, we have to laugh because disclosures come out because somebody sued somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody
You
sued
mean like
somebody.
the coffee is hot thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
So
don't sleep in the back of your Winnebago on cruise control?
oh
Weird.
wait, what? So somebody sued somebody because somebody's children ate lead-based paint chips and got sick. So
Mm.
now we have to sign this lead-based paint disclosure on any homes that could potentially have lead-based paint in them. So that's the one piece that I would say be very cautious of is if there is any chipped and peeling paint, we want to deal with paint remediation before we close. And the reason why is if not, you got to get the big dogs in there to do paint remediation, which no disrespect to them, but it adds a zero to a bid because they just have to go in and do certain things. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to cover it up with new fascia or new soffit, or I'm going to scrape it all off and paint it anyways. And I'm going to go crazy and I'm going to vacuum up those paint chips so my little kid can't eat it. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But so that would be the thing is if anybody's interested in doing this program, just perk up if you see paint. Paint is a thing that we just want to rectify.
I mean, you're on the money, by the way. I just looked that up and it says an average size home, this can translate to a total ranging cost of $10,000 to $30,000 just in remediation of paint. Wow.
And a gallon of paint is somewhere between $50 to $100.
Yeah. Whoa.
And I could pay somebody a lot of money to paint that paint on that wall and scrape it and still be less zeros. So, so yeah, I think that, an FHA's program, obviously FHA naturally is catered to people with a little bit lower credit scores, higher debt to income ratios. Mm-hmm. Conventional has a very similar program. FHA allows us to do 110% of the as completed project number, like the appraisal comes in, we can go up to 110%. Conventional's program is calculated just a little bit different.
Okay.
It will let us do 75% of the finished product value, but it can't exceed certain loan amount or certain dollar amounts. So it's a little bit more tricky to calculate that one. So
and this is the home style loan, home style renovation loan, conventional. Okay.
Yep. And just the conventional program alone does cater to higher credit scores. And so there's obviously reasons. FHA has done it perfectly because they have one for the cosmetic and they have one for the bigger. And you have lower credit scores or higher debt ratios that fit into those. And then you've got conventional that just doesn't care. You can be a small project or a big project. It just has to calculate right within the appraised value. Overall, the concept is the same though. You're buying the house as is. You're holding back the money needed for those repairs. And the seller's gone. See you later. Here his paycheck is. Realtors are paid, so they're happy. And then the work begins. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's really cool about this is if it is your primary residence, because this program can be done on a non-primary residence on the conventional side, but if this is your primary residence and it is a big enough repair, they actually let us escrow in up to 6 months of mortgage payments. So if you're going to take out the plumbing, take out the electrical, maybe you have to replace trusses or something that's not going to allow you to really live in the home while it's being repaired, they actually will let us do a line item for escrow holdback of those payments. So you're not having to live in a rental house and make that payment and a mortgage payment on top of it.
Okay. That is a very convenient feature to that program. I mean, that's something that somebody would more than likely ask. And the answer is yes, somebody's already gone through that. They added it to the program and there you go.
Yeah. Just on the primary residence only. And it has to be a repair that would displace you. If all you're doing is carpet, are you really displaced? Yeah, you're kind of inconvenienced, but you can still cook your dinner and you can still come home probably at night. You're just having to walk around piles of carpet while they're in their process of that. But
I've gone through it many times. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah. So the program mimics the same guidelines as FHA and conventional with the minimum down payments.
Okay.
The difference is if you're going to buy a house, and this isn't realistic for the whole United States of America, but if you're going to buy a house for $100,000, the minimum down payment on FHA is 3.5%. So your down payment is going to be $3,500. On the renovation thing of program is, if I'm going to buy a house for $100,000, I'm going to do a renovation piece of that for $50,000. Your 3.5% is based off that $150,000. And so you're talking peanuts of money, but it's still a higher number. So 3.5% is 3.5%, and the 3% is going to be based off of that finished number you need for the purchase price and the amount of money you need for the renovation cost.
That actually makes sense. And that's something that somebody asked me yesterday, which was, what is the 3.5 based on? Well, it'll be the total project of completion of this. That's your 3.5%. And then everything else goes in the escrow account so that you guys can essentially take your 2 draws. First one is all material stuff. And then the next one is going to be the remainder of it once they're complete.
So that draw, and that's a really good thing to lead into that is how is the contractor paid?
Mm,
On the limited program with FHA, they like us to stay within 2 draws. So at closing, they'll let us take 50% of the material cost only, no labor,
okay.
and then when the home is completed, then you get the rest of it. So that's a little bit of a pressure on a contractor to get some stuff done, but they've also got to be able to carry that monetarily just a little
Sure.
bit.
But contractors should be able to do that. I mean, if
They're pretty small. Yeah, they're
absolutely.
pretty small projects. Now, on the other program, they will let you put together a small draw schedule.
Okay.
So as pieces get done, and that goes on, you have the ability to pull those draws as things get done. They are not a construction loan, and so they're not set up to do draws like construction loans are. So the less we have to do draws on them, the better.
Mhm.
But I had one project that it was a full addition on a home. So you had a house existing, we were adding a garage and an upper level. Well, if you look at the phases of all of that, you've got an excavator coming in and he's done.
Mhm.
He's put his hole in the ground. They've put the concrete in. He's backfilled and he's not coming back.
Mm.
Well, he's going to wait for 2 months for the roof to get on to be able to get paid. So they'll let us do those phases and get those contractors paid as they go, so that they don't need to carry it like that.
Right.
That isn't even right. So that is allowed. So that's a positive thing. Contractors are a little bit nervous, I think, sometimes to get into some of these remodel projects. So contractors, I have 4 contractors that I have kind of scooped up.
Mhm.
And the first one that I did with these guys are like, these loans are no brainer. Like, we are guaranteed our money. Yeah,
Getting
you
paid.
are.
That's right. It's sitting there waiting for you. Hurry up and get the job done. That's
Yeah,
right.
you do your work, I write you a check. It is that simple. It's not hoping somebody's going to be able to swipe their credit card. The money is guaranteed to be there.
That's true.
So there now I have these little contractors that it took me
Hey, you
some
got any
time.
more? You got any more? They're
Yeah.
probably knocking on your door.
Yeah, they are, and it's fun because at first you're like, okay, we'll do this," and now, "Okay, this is cool. How many more can we do?"
That's
So
awesome.
it's super, super fun to have that kind of a situation, and what a blessing to people. Just such a
I
blessing to
agree.
people.
And in addition, I mean, you as the loan officer expert in this type of transaction, there are very few loan officers nationally that, number one, know how to do this program, two, are willing to take that plunge to do it, because of the facade that it has had, this dark cloud over 203Ks renovation loans for such a long time. But we're in a market today that home affordability is tough for your first time home buyers. But if you open up the opportunities and options to be able to provide those to these first time home buyers, well, now they can go back through all those houses that didn't work originally and go, okay, does this work essentially? And in many cases, doing the math, they probably do,
Yeah,
and that'll allow them to, number one, get them into a home affordable. But the second piece is the sellers on the other side. A lot of these homes are sitting, and in turn, they have to drop their price and drop their price so that an investor can purchase them to go and take the chance in putting money into it, hoping that they make a profit. Because let's face it, investors don't buy houses to break even.
yeah,
So it all has to do with the price that you get it at, that you can actually make money doing it. I know for personally from doing flips that it was all about how we bought the house, and making sure that we did our inspections beforehand, are getting our bids beforehand, so that when our option period was over, we knew kind of within a reasonable range as to whether or not we were going to be profitable or not. In this case, you're not trying to make profit as a home buyer. You just want to at least break even with the value, and have a place that you can live and call your own finally.
yeah,
And I think that these two options are something that are not discussed enough. Um, they definitely are not done enough. I mean, I would imagine that there is a ton just in my market uh, that could use both of these programs. Definitely.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I've got Mark, pull up my website that I have, my mortgagewedo.com
Yep.
website. So I have this website that we got built for the purpose of letting people get more information about these programs, I've got a really awesome brochure that I can kick out. And if you go to mortgagewedo.com/renovations, scroll down just a little ways, you can put your information there. And I promise we won't spam you with information, but we'll just get you that brochure. It's super sweet. But scrolling down just a little bit, there's some before and after pictures.
You're
Oh, there's yeah, baby. Those are my girls. And
got video content.
yeah, to
Lovely.
explain it on YouTube, it's way awesome. And then look at these before and after pictures. Just take some time to jump on there and look at them. It is so cool. It's been so fun to be able to just see the before and afters of
Oh,
these.
wow.
Go back, go back one, go back one.
Look at this.
Yeah.
That was turned into something that was habitable.
Yeah, if you scroll down, I think those are the before. You'll have to go down to the afters.
See, here's the after. Wow. Wow.
Isn't
Wow.
that awesome?
Same home?
Same home.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So could you imagine walking into that house and be like, a hoarder?
Yeah.
I lived there. And then it turned into that beautifulness. So
now I would imagine that these folks have to have some type of vision. If not, then the realtor themselves is going to have to kind of give them a little bit of a vision of what it can be. The reason why I say that is there's a lot of folks out there that believe that when I buy a home, it needs to be done so that I can live in it, etc. But if you're going this route, it allows you to have that imagination to be able to put what your taste asks for.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty cool thing.
Well, and if you line yourself up with the right loan officer, me and you, because I'm like so excited. But and we have got contractors that are like, they have an eyeball for these things.
Sure.
And at some point, if you can just trust them about, hey, what if we take out this wall? What if we add this window? What if we do this? And let them try to help you bring to life what you didn't even know you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got contractors that can definitely help line that vision up. And we've got really awesome real estate agents in our areas that can help see those kind of things too. They're in and out of houses all the time.
That's right.
So they get to pull in those awesome ideas. But I would just say, yes, it is a very untouched program, but it is also a program that can go south real fast.
Now, can you tell us about that stuff?
Yeah, that really is just a matter of people who don't know what they're doing. You've miscalculated loan amounts. You've got inspectors that have come in and appraisers that have done their thing and consultants and contractors and all of this. And you've told the client, hey, this is how much you need for a down payment. You haven't calculated it. The appraisal doesn't come in right. And you've not prepped people properly for the ups and downs of all of this. Mm-hmm. You have to get with somebody who already knows the program. Don't be the test. Yeah. Don't be the test, because there's enough of us around that know how to do it. Just let us be the expert in that, and don't be the test patient for people who have no clue and no business. Some people have no business doing certain loan programs.
I have to agree.
So they need to stay in their lane and do their little vanilla loans, and let those that have understood the program and respect the program and know how to talk the talk do the program.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest piece that you mentioned here, obviously using somebody that knows how to do it and know their actual craft, but setting expectations. I think that in all of our industry on the mortgage side, loan officers have lost the ability to set proper expectations, because 2020 through 2022, it was like go, 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 go.
And it's like the stated income days. You can sign your name, you can get a loan.
Yep. On to the next. So setting expectations of these, and like yesterday, you gave me a great rundown through this. I then took that information and had that same almost presentation with the customer so that they understood not just the good, because we can fill you up with all this hope. But I also told them, here's what could go wrong. Here are the bad things. Here's the other side of the coin, so to speak. And if they were okay with that, then they'd move forward. But not bringing up the downfalls or the moments that could come up. When they do come up, you look like I don't know.
Yeah.
A schmuck. We'll say schmuck.
Yeah, definitely. I just really, agree with you that this is a very misunderstood program.
Mhm.
I'm super excited we got to talk about it today because it is definitely, I mean, as you can tell, very near and dear to my heart. I'm kind of psycho, but whatever. I guess we all have to have one thing in life.
Absolutely. And I think the title of this discussion is going to be 203 Nightmares Explained, or Mythbusters, or something along those lines, because a lot of folks, I mean, like I said, 203K nightmares is a very high search word or phrase in Google. I checked it, and it's like it gets higher searches than the 203K itself. They
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
add a nightmare to the end of it.
Yep. Well, okay.
And it
Any
doesn't
other?
have to be.
It doesn't have to be. Nope.
Well, Deborah, that was some great information. I'm glad that I do have an expert that knows what the heck that they're talking about, and has done plenty of these to use as a resource. And now all the folks listening, tuning in, know that you're the queen as well.
Of this program, that's for sure. Just ask me, I'll
Okay.
tell you.
Okay, good deal. Well, then next week, maybe we'll talk about some other stuff that people can
Yeah.
actually use to become first-time home buyers. There's plenty of programs out there, kind of like down payment assistance. We haven't done one about that. So who knows? But
Yeah,
guys,
I
thanks
like
so much for tuning in to what we do here, because we're trying to bring the sexy into mortgage, and all the ways to do that is nothing but information and education.
sexy into mortgage. That's exactly. Yes.
Yeah, because I would say we're bringing sexy back, but it was never sexy at all. Mortgage is not a sexy thing. Real
No,
estate,
that's true.
different story, you know?
Very true. Very true. All right. Till next week.
See y'all later.
Bye.